Hi there. I was in Nakuru over the weekend and I bumped into a young man who has been able to build his own house, a house worth upwards of 3 million shillings from him doing samosa selling business. The young man cooks samosas and sells, and he's been able to do that over the past 10 years for him to build that amazing house. That tells us that you can also do massive development from just humble beginnings, doing small business, which over time can be able to give you amazing returns. That's why I'm making this video to discuss with you 10 business ideas which you could look to start with just 5,000 Kenya shillings. In fact, most of these business ideas, you can even start with 2,000, 3,000 Kenya shillings, you name it. So if you're sitting there with 3K in your pocket, 5K in your pocket, and you are feeling overwhelmed, just know you can start a business and be able to make insane amounts of money over time. Of course, it calls for you being dedicated, you being disciplined, and showing up each and every day. Because with this amount of money, we are talking about low capital, high labor intensive kind of opportunities out there. But be sure in the long term, they also reward big time. You are all much welcomed to the Money Daily TV. My name is Afaza Sifuna. If you are new here, kindly remember to subscribe to this channel, and also if you still at it, drop a like on this video. Having said that, the very first business idea which you can start with under 5,000 Kenya shillings is the idea of you doing smokies and eggs selling business. I'm pretty sure, regardless where you are in this country, you know a vendor who sells smoky on those strategic spots in your neighborhood. They are selling boiled eggs, you name it. Do you know that with just about 3,000, 5,000 Kenya shillings, you can be able to start that venture? Of course, when you're beginning out, you could even look, for example, to rent out these trolleys and then over time even buy your own. But also be rest assured, some second-hand smoky trolleys out there go for as little as even 3,000 Kenya shillings, and then the rest of the money you can use to acquire your stock. Of course, looking for a fire spot, you purchasing smokies, stocks, eggs, etc. These are items which are on the fast moving schedule of items and also cost little amount of money. But the amazing thing with this business is that, guys, you can actually be able to make somewhere between 500 shillings to even 1,500 shillings each and every day, depending on the volumes of where your clients are. That's how insane this business is. Someone is just out there on a trolley selling smokies and eggs in a day, yet they are making upwards of 1,000 Kenya shillings in case they're in a place where there is high traffic. So if you have that amount of money, don't hesitate. Start and be sure you can be able to be in very big business. Okay? And then the second idea, which you can start with under 5,000 Kenya shillings, is the idea of you selling fruit salad and also fruit juice. Just like smokies, I'm pretty sure wherever you are in this country, you know there's a spot in the market, or even so, as you walk along the ways out there, where someone is selling fruit salad, someone is selling fruit juice. This is a form of value addition beyond just selling traditional fruits. And guys, with something like even selling fresh juice, you can be able to make even upwards of 300% profit of the cost of you acquiring a given fruit. That is how insane it is. Now imagine if you are located in a place which has very high traffic, maybe near a college or even a market. Be sure you can be able to make insane amount of money from you being a mobile seller of fruit salad and fruit juice, because these are products also which Kenyans appreciate and over time have grown to embrace. Okay? And then the third business idea which can start with this amount of money is you doing mandazi selling, samosa selling business. Just the business which I talked about at the introduction of this video. You can be preparing your own samosas, preparing mandazis, and then hawking these products to people. By the way, the young man I mentioned to you about, he focused on selling his samosas mostly early mornings and also later in the evenings. In fact, during the day, he can get time to do other things because he knows his markets are mainly in the evening. And he hawks his samosas and sells hundreds and hundreds of samosas each and every day. And of course, over time, you can also develop loyal clientele base who are gonna be out there ready to support you to ensure that you are in business. Because if you are cooking amazing samosas, who out here doesn't like eating samosas which slap? Be sure you're gonna build a low clientele base who over time are gonna ensure that you are in continuous business. Okay? And then the fourth business idea, which you could look to start with under 5,000 Kenya shillings, is the idea of you selling second-hand clothes, mutumbas. Of course, the mtumba business varies based on capital you need and also the specific kind of clothes you need. You can start even with a small bale, or even so, if you can't afford a bale, you can start with, for example, buying individual pieces, which you can flip and sell in the market, and then over time, see how you can increase your stock levels. For example, you can start by maybe focusing on selling hoods only. Start by maybe focusing on selling only second-hand ladies' shoes. Start by focusing maybe only on selling children's second-hand clothes. And then over time, see how you can increase your stock and also the offers you're offering your clients. Of course, at starting point, you need to start small because you have little amount of money. Work very hard to be in the markets on time when bells are being opened so that you can get those awesome of clothes, and then you can go out there and sell them. And be sure that over time, you can be able to make an amazing amount of profit. And then, guys, the fifth business idea, which you can start with under 5,000 Kenya shillings, is the idea of you selling mobile credit or airtime. I'm pretty sure you've seen out there people even selling airtime virtually. Of course, profit on airtime is little amount of money, maybe 5% or so of the value, or even sometimes even 2% of the value. But be sure if you're selling airtime in volume, then you're gonna be in very big business. And I've seen people out here who've also made amazing amount of money from just selling airtime. Someone is out there making 500 shillings each and every day passively by selling airtime to those who require convenience of buying airtime. So he loads up in bulk and then sells to different people out there through the existing mechanisms. And then be sure over time you can be able to make amazing amount of money. And the beauty about you selling airtime is that it is a low effort kind of endeavor and also has zero overheads because you can sell remotely, and also you can even partner, for example, with wholesalers out there and sell to individual shops out there. But also you can sell remotely and be able to make amazing amount of money. And then, guys, the sixth business idea, which you can start with under 5,000 Kenyan shillings, is the idea of you making and selling homemade detergents. I'm pretty sure wherever you are in this country, you have seen people selling soaps which they made at home. Of course, as a value addition, some people are adding fragrance to these shops, to these particular soaps, just to see how they can better the soaps and even so lock in clients. You can start small, and if you can afford, even brand your soaps, and then over time you can start gaining traction in the market. More so if you're making your soaps in a legit way, in a way that you're differentiating yourselves from competitors out there. And be sure, guys, you can also be in a very, very big business. Okay? And then the seventh business idea, which you can jump onto with under 5,000 Kenya shillings, in fact, even 2K can do, is the idea of you selling boiled maize, boiled groundnuts, you name it. Of course, these are products which are actually seasonal, but in big urban centers, like for example in Nairobi, Nakuru, you name it, these products are actually available year in, year out. For example, soft maize. You can be going to the market, purchasing a good number of those maize which are considered soft maize, and then be boiling and selling to people. You can establish a regular client base. Think about it. Maybe there's a family out there which requires soft maize to cook githeri. Maybe there are those people out there who are buying this soft maize to eat outright. Be sure if you're providing them with a very consistent product, the kind of product they like, and even so you are very hygienic, you can be in very big business. And this is the kind of business which you can start, for example, if you're operating in an estate out there. Estates in Nairobi are very voluminous. We're talking about estates out there having huge population of people. For example, places in instance out there even have upwards of 20,000 people residing in a given small area. Imagine just 1% of these people buying mails from you each and every day, and you making just 10 shillings off each and every mail. That tells you can easily be making even upwards of 2,000 Kenya shillings in case you plan your business very well. Okay? And then the eighth business idea, which you could look to jump onto and start with just under 5,000 Kenya shillings, is the idea of you doing online freelancing. Basically, you having a smartphone or a computer and then utilizing the power of the internet to do amazing things online. For example, you could choose, for example, to do online writing. You could choose, for example, to do graphics. You could choose, for example, to do transcription services, or even so, you can even start your own YouTube channel or even manage another person's YouTube channel. And in the process, you're gonna be paid. All you need is to have a smart device and also have internet. And with that, you're gonna be ready for you to do amazing things out there in the market, right? This with under 5,000 Kenya shillings, because you could use that, for example, to get data, and you're gonna be ready to go because you can do online writing, transcription, you name it. And then the ninth business idea, which you can start with under 5,000 Kenya shillings, more so in case you are near a college or even a school, is the idea of you selling snacks. Talk about selling, for example, biscuits, selling crepes, etc. With just 5K Kenya shillings, you can be able to acquire the initial required stock, start like a small kibanda there, or even put your products on a very beautiful laid out stack, or even, for example, a leso, and start your business. And you're gonna be amazed as to how you starting humbly it can take you to those different heights over time, because we're talking about the kind of clientele who also are very huge numbers, because a school could even have upwards of 1,000 young people or even upwards of 2K young people. Imagine just 10% of these young people purchasing your products each and every day. That is going to guarantee you a big market, which is going to ensure that you are in perpetual business. Okay? And then the 10th business idea, which you can start just under 5,000 Kenyan shillings, is the idea of you doing delivery services. You can be an errands person. And I'm saying so because in big towns out here in cities, people are looking for reliable people to support them with errands. Whether it is carrying products from one place to another, whether it is them assisting them going to get products from out there to bring to them, you name it. If you are a trusted individual and you start running errands, of course, at a starting point, you need to advertise yourself. You're going to need to advertise your services. But if you start building 1, 2, 3 clients, be sure these clients can even refer you to their friends, and then over time, you can also be in business because it is a business anchored on trust. In that, you can move someone's product from one place to another without stealing, and they grow to trust you over time. So you can start by doing errands for people out there, and then you're gonna be able to be paid. Guys, what do you think about these 10 business ideas? Do you think there's any which is exciting to you, and you have 5K and you are willing to start? Share down below in the comment section. Let's continue discussing. Also, are there other brilliant ideas out there which I've forgotten to talk about, which you think an individual can start with just under 5,000 Kenya shillings? Share down below in the comment section. Let's continue discussing. Cheers, guys, and you all stay safe.